Hello traders, it's Wednesday, 1st of November, a new month, a new day. Let's start with a real-time daily trading idea of today. Today, in a couple of seconds, Paul will be the day trader of today. We will speak about trading ideas, strategies, market screening, and maybe if you have some questions live in the webinar, we will answer it directly in this live webinar. We have 15 to 20 minutes, so let's have a quick start. Let's not wasting time. Timing is all also in trading. Of course, you have to start with a risk disclaimer. Forex and CFDs are leveraged products and can result in losses that exceed your deposits. If you like to start with a live account, please start first with a demo account and make you familiar with everything around risk management, going long, going short, and all the risk what is involved in trading. If you like to see the full risk disclaimer, just visit one of our web pages, for example, admiralmarketsglobal.com or admiralmarkets.com, and you will see full risk disclaimer with all explanations. Maybe you heard my English, made in Germany, but hopefully some of my quality too. So this is me, Jens. I'm speaking from the Berlin office of Admiral Markets, but I'm not the main person. The main person will be our day trader, and today it's Paul. This is our scheme. So usually on Monday it's Jay's day, on Tuesday it's Paul's day, on Wednesday it's Mike's day, on Thursday it's Nenad's day, and on Friday it's Dirk's day, but we are flexible because of the national holiday what we had yesterday in Germany. We make a switch, so today it's Wednesday and Paul will be performing for us. Today's actions are tomorrow's results, so let's see what is the trading idea of today. And of course, if you like to trade Forex and CFDs, we will be really happy if you do it with Admiral Markets UK. Why? Many benefits. What you only get with Admiral Markets UK, you will see here displayed if you see my screen. So for example, best order execution, SDP, NDD, no minimum stop distances, Forex level 2 with MT5. We offer MT4 and MT5. If you are a DAX trader, best typically fixed spread, just 0.8 points without any commission. Check it out. All information, all benefits, of course, you will find on admiralmarkets.com. You will find also there some information about our regulation. Of course, we are FCA regulated, like you see also displayed. And if you like to speak with one, a sales representative, or send an email, here you see all the information about. You are joining now live the webinar, I hope, and if you cannot join every day because we are performing every day, a couple of hours later you will find the recorded video file in our YouTube channel. Here also YouTube address is displayed. That's enough for my side, and for any reason this is not the right file. This is Paul. Paul, now it's your turn. What's the trading idea of today? Hi, Paul.
Good morning, Jens. Good morning, Jens. Thank you for that. Good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me. I hope you can also just see my screen as I click for us to go. Hopefully you can all see and hear me. As Jens said, here we are, Wednesday, 1st of November, start of the month, and I think it's going to be quite an interesting month. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a very interesting month for us, and maybe I'll give you a little bit of insight into that today. So, what am I going to talk about today? I'm going to have a little look at the let's call it like the usual suspects in terms of euro dollar and euro sterling, but also I want to draw your attention to the pound against the Canadian dollar. So I'm just going to move my stuff around here just so hopefully you can see it a little bit clearer. This is first day of the month, and here we are at the euro dollar chart. I hope you can all see that, and I hope you can all see it clearly. I primarily am a sort of a swing trader. That's the majority of my work that I do, and it's something that I recommend everybody does, regardless of whether you're a 5-minute copper trader, or whether like me you're a swing trader on weekly and daily and 4-hourly charts. But first day of the month, what is a good thing is just to take an hour out of your trading month and go through your major charts from the monthly candles. We have the new monthly candle forming. The old one has closed, and it gives us a little bit of an insight into what, let's say, the very big picture is. Now, the reality is, the majority of the time, there will be nothing for you to do, okay? The majority of the time, there will be nothing for you to do. But every so often, every month, something will pop up that will give you an idea, that will give you some insight into what the big guys are looking at. And that's what I'm going to share with you a little bit today. So here we go. This is euro dollar. This is the monthly chart here, okay? We can see that after the race up this earlier this year, what's happening is we had a little high wave candle here, okay? We've had a little bit, I would call this still an indecision candle rather than a sort of a rejection candle just because of where the body is. But, we can see that on the monthly candle, hitting that 120 level and hitting that 50-period moving average. has sort of given us a little bit of cause for indecision. And we can see actually last month we closed down. Okay, we closed down on a bearish month. Okay, and if you remember from the last couple of weeks, what I've talked about, well, when you go down quickly to the weekly chart, we talked about how we had a big head and shoulders picture forming. And what I saw for last week was us closing beneath that weekly neckline. And now I'm interested to see that what's going to happen here. Okay, is this going to be a small inside weekly bar that would give me a little bit of a hint that it's a chance to add to the trade? What have I got to take aware of? Well, of course, tonight we have FOMC conversation. Tomorrow we have we have Carney speaking, which I'll touch on later, and then on Friday we have NFP. So there are a couple of things that could have a shift on that. So we'll keep an eye on that for the remainder of the week. But it could be that let's say a weekly chart opportunity on an inside bar sets up for us to trade. But let's go down a little bit further. The daily chart, if I just zoom out here, we talked about how there was a daily head and shoulders, which has become a weekly head and shoulders. You can see where we've sort of drawn the neckline in and actually sort of also done a little bit of an extension, which a target from that head and shoulders would take us towards where around about the daily 200 period moving average is. That's just a simple one. So there's a let's say a natural target there. But, the daily chart isn't really giving me any particular interest there in terms of a trade opportunity. I want to be short. My bias is to the short side. But there's not really, for me, a trade opportunity off the daily chart. So I'm going down. And it's when I'm getting down to the 4-hour chart that I start to get interested here, okay? You can realize that I spoke last week about how this sort of 4-hour 200 moving average had been acting as lovely dynamic resistance. We can see that it occurred a few times there. Okay, lovely work there. Last week it rolled up there just before the ECB announcement, and then as you can see after Draghi's comments, it just fell nicely. And what we've done there is actually, we've now this week we're putting in what I would look at as a kind of a nice flag pattern there, a nice bearish flag pattern, and that's what I'm looking at, and that's what I've got a little bit of a trade idea in place. You might have heard me talk about in the past the power of the 20 moving average, how it can act as dynamic support resistance. What we've seen here is, we broke the flag line, okay, but the 20 period is acting as a little bit of dynamic support at the moment. But what I'm pleased to see is that the 4-hour candle that just closed, that's just still a rejection candle. And what I have is that, I have an order in here to basically sell beneath the lows of that break, the lows of that 20 down towards the kind of 1620 region, 1622 region, with my stops above the recent high. And then I actually have a really big target way out, a really big target using the sort of that kind of daily targets there to begin with. Just zoom up. Just I'm using it all the way down here, okay, as an initial target, and that makes it for a rather interesting trade in terms of reward to risk. But that's what I'm looking at the moment. Now, last week I tried to show some sort of how to set up intraday trades on using the existing MT4 terminal, and as I showed, it's a very, very clunky. It's a very what's the word? It's not very intuitive way, especially if you're trading fast things, and I made quite a few mistakes on it because it's just not very sort of intuitive for a natural trader to use. Admiral Markets recognize that, and what they've done is they've created a whole range, a whole suite of tools that are fantastic to be used. One of these is the mini terminal here, which you can find under the navigator, okay, and you can just drag it into your charts, okay, the mini terminal from Admiral. But what is fascinating and what is absolutely fantastic is it brings us an order ladder on the side, okay, and you can see there's two order ladders, the grey for the buy, the sort of the pink orange for the red, and what I'm able to do is to effectively, to almost just literally I'll put another trade in, just literally, you can see there, that's where I want to get in, okay. I can then basically, that gives me my sell stop. I can basically move my stop loss to where I want it to be. As I said, I just want it up here, okay. And then I can also just effectively, put in my trade, my profits as well, okay. So you can literally just put it in, move it up, and then effectively have that trade. And you can see that I have there. It's what it's showing is where my sell stop is. You can see where my stop loss is, which can also be very, very easily moved and manipulated. Very, very easy to maneuver and manipulate. And my target is as I showed way down there. So there's one little idea for you to look at. Just look at that flag pattern there, okay, that's showing up on the 4-hourly chart, and seeing if it starts to break beneath that 20 moving average, well then invariably then, you know, we have a trade opportunity to join the existing trend. My first point of it, my first decision point would be those recent lows around 115.74. So that's euro dollar for us. Okay, let's have a quick look at euro sterling. All right, it's one of my favorites, as you well know. And if once again, here we go. It's let me just very quickly look at the monthly chart. This is you know, I don't see that as a classical double top, but clearly, you know, we pushed up there a couple of months back and we fell down. And what I want you to take notice of, ladies and gentlemen, is this monthly candle, okay? That's the monthly candle for October, okay? That's not a terribly bullish candle, is it? It's quite the opposite invariably. It's, you know, we've had a real sort of bearish rejection there. Price tried to push up again, but it's closed. It's an inside bar as well. So we're looking, you know, breaks beneath that lows. There's a good chance that we might get a drift down towards at least that 86 level, the sort of the 20 period moving average on the monthly. So that's just, you know, take a look at it. That's, you know, the time spent to have a quick flick through the monthly charts might just provide you a little bit of insight on what the likely direction could be for the remainder of that month. But going to the weekly chart, I showed you, you know, we talked about it a few weeks ago about how that, you know, the 20 period moving average is acting as a little bit of dynamic resistance, and we can see it's dropped down there. And what I was actually looking for is here, is this is the daily chart now. I was showing, you know, that 50 daily had been acting as dynamic resistance. The 20 had been acting as dynamic support. And last week I said it's almost like a squeeze happening before Draghi's speech. And that's what we get. And that's what we fell down to. Now, what I'm actually looking at, and I'm just going to drag this down here, is what I was interested in today was, you know, we're here at the daily 200 period moving average, which is also where we've had the, you know, the recent low from basically from last month as well. And so I'm kind of watching and waiting there, seeing if there'll be a small little reaction. We have a little bit of a rejection candle, not a particularly clear one on the 4-hour chart. It's a little bit of an indecision candle there on the 1-hour chart. Okay, so you know there you're starting to look at, well, is there an opportunity to even though my sort of longer term bias is to the short side, could I be looking at just a reaction? We all know that no trade, no currency moves in one direction. There's always moves like a crab in a kind of zigzag fashion. And it's a case of having hit that daily 200 and that sort of previous month's lows. Could there be a little bit of a reaction to the north side? Okay, just a little bit of a pullback. There'll be some people who will have taken profits off this move, a little bit of a move back, which might give you the opportunity to join the short side when it gets back up to around about the 50, or, you know, if you're a short-term trader, you can scalp your way up towards that kind of region, which I would call around about 87.75.
We have a question from our audience. What moving average are you using? What moving average are you using, please?
Absolutely. Good question, Jens. Yep, make that clear. Very simple moving averages. The blue is a 20 period simple moving average. The red is a 50 period simple moving average, and the green is a 200 period moving average. Okay, just very simple moving averages. Okay, I don't trade them as crossovers. Okay, very new traders will start to look at them. Realistically, I'm just using them to give me an indication of the strength of the trend. In this particular example, when I see that the 20 is below the 50, below the 200, they're all shaping down. It's just giving me more confirmation that we are in a strong downtrend. And what I particularly like is when I see moves like here, where we have, you know, the sort of the 50 period moving average becomes dynamic resistance. And we can see price rallies up to it and falls away. We can see here, once price gets to 20, falls away. Here, it's acting as dynamic resistance once again, and price falls away. So I hope that answers that question there. I know there's lots of people who use all manner of different types of moving averages. I just use very simple ones, 20, 50, 200, and I'm just looking to give me an indication of the trend. So take a look around the sort of the euro sterling there. Watch if there's a reaction of around that kind of 87.40, 87.50. And finally, let me just finish off very quickly on the pound against Canadian dollar. Last month, okay, or rather September, we had a big monthly bullish engulfing candle at a recent level of support. Last month was a very strong move up, and we hit the sort of the 20. Not much on the weekly or on the daily. What happened on the 4-hourly is the start of this week, I had a nice trade here, just the trade of a bullish flag. I want to be a buyer of sterling, a seller of CAD at the start of this week. You know, CAD was weak, sterling was strong. We had a nice 4-hour CAD flag, which ran up. And now what I'm doing is I'm just watching and waiting here. Tomorrow we have the Carney speaking with an interest rate rise. He really has to do it, because if he doesn't, he'll have no credibility left as a central banker. And so, you know, what I expect, what I'm looking to see is, will there be a small sort of profit taking here before the announcement, where sort of pound CAD may just drift down slowly out of that small block? Okay, what looked like a bit of a false breakout earlier today. Okay, bit of a false breakout, pushback in. We had manufacturing PMI, which was good. But what I'm looking at is, you know, if there's a kind of that break between sort of around, you know, beneath sort of 71, okay, then I'll be looking for a small drift down over the next 24 hours to back to around about the 70-30 zone before we get to the Carney announcement tomorrow. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. Let's see if I can put a sort of a demo trade on here. Okay, that might give us the thing. As we said, you know, we can just literally have, I can, you know, use the order there. Okay. So I have an order in there now. I want to have my, here we go. I want to have my stop loss above, and I want my profit target down around about here, okay? So there we go. Orders in. You can see it nice and clear, nice and easy. If you saw me last week and struggling and fighting the, you know, the old sort of original MT4 trade terminal, okay, you can see that's just so much easier, so much nicer to actually use as a sort of a trade interface. You know, it makes things much easier. So by all means, ladies and gentlemen, I would definitely recommend check out the Supreme Edition. There's some fantastic tools on there. And if you are an active intraday trader, this mini terminal and the order ladder makes things so much easier compared to, you know, watching me fumble about last week. Okay, super. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight. I hope that helps you, Jens. If there's any further questions, I'll happily quickly take any of them there.
Yeah, I guess 1 or 2 minutes we have. Our goal is 15 to 20 minutes, so we have 17 minutes, so 1 or 2 minutes we still have. Question about GBP US dollar, the cable. Could you comment about the GBP USD chart, and would you recommend to go long on the upcoming FOMC meeting? GBP USD.
Okay. All right, let's bring up a quick chart. Let's just have a quick look at it here, all right? So, bang, what we have here. Okay, so this is the 4-hour chart. It's at the 200 period moving average already. You can see there it's acting as an element of dynamic resistance. Looking at it here on the daily chart, we are above the averages. My own personal view is that, yes, we do have FOMC this evening at 6 o'clock UK time because of the clocks haven't gone back. My understanding is that Yellen won't be speaking tonight. Okay, she's not doing a conference this evening afterwards, which means the likelihood of any kind of rate rise from America is very small. It may happen, but the probability of it happening is particularly small. If that does happen, my own view is that nothing will happen on pound against dollar until Carney speaks tomorrow. Okay, and as I said, I think it's pretty much nailed on that he has to raise the interest rate because he's pretty much, his credibility is shot to pieces here in the UK at the moment. So my own view is pound against dollar won't do much today, but what will happen is it'll wait until tomorrow. Hope that helps, Jens.
Thanks, quick and smart, but for that every day. So if you are happy to join us today, maybe you join us tomorrow again. Tomorrow it should be Nenad's day because it's Thursday. So good trades like every day. Don't forget to go long and short, and there are some rockets. I'm really happy about the DAX 30, our German index, from one all-time high to another one every day, every week, new all-time highs. So check out, we have so many instruments. Maybe tomorrow we will speak about DAX 30 because it's really a rocket these days. Thanks, Paul. Have a good day. And if you'd like to see us again in a couple of hours, you will see the video on YouTube. Thanks and have a good time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.